The massive Zephyrian Dreadnought Void Crusher hung in space like a metallic predator, its hull scarred from the brutal 3-day bombardment of Earth's orbital defenses. Admiral Kethvar's mandibles clicked with satisfaction as he surveyed the blue planet below, its surface still smoking from plasma strikes that had reduced humanity's greatest cities to ash. "Status report," the 8-foot insectoid commander hissed, his compound eyes reflecting the bridge's amber lighting. "All orbital platforms destroyed, Admiral," his tactical officer reported. "Human fleet elements scattered or eliminated. Surface resistance is minimal. The species appears broken." Kethvar's thorax vibrated with what passed for laughter among his kind. 3 centuries of galactic conquest had taught him to recognize defeat in a species' posture, and humanity reeked of it. Their primitive ships had fought valiantly but futilely against the Zephyrian Empire's superior technology. Now, like so many worlds before, Earth would serve as another resource node in their expanding dominion. On the planet's surface, in the ruins of what was once New Geneva, Commander David Chen crouched behind twisted metal that had been part of a defensive bunker. His combat armor's HUD flickered with damage warnings, and his squad of 12 had been reduced to 3. The acrid smoke of burning infrastructure filled his nostrils through his helmet's filters. "Sir," Sergeant Emma Rodriguez's voice crackled through the comm, her position 2 clicks east barely holding against Zephyrian ground forces. "We've got movement on the horizon. Looks like they're bringing in heavy artillery for the final push." David's jaw clenched. They'd held this position for 18 hours, but ammunition was running low and reinforcements weren't coming. The Zephyrian Empire had crushed 47 worlds before Earth, each conquest adding to their reputation as unstoppable. Humanity had prepared for this day for decades after first contact went wrong, but preparation hadn't been enough. "Copy that, Emma. Hold your position. We're not done yet." Above the atmosphere, Kethvar was already composing his victory report to the High Command, when his communications officer's voice pierced the bridge's triumphant atmosphere. "Admiral, we're detecting massive energy signatures at the system's edge. Something's coming out of hyperspace." The main view screen shifted to show the star-speckled void beyond Earth's moon. Space itself began to ripple and tear as enormous shapes emerged from dimensional transit. 1 ship, then 10, then 50. Kethvar's mandibles spread wide in shock. These weren't the sleek aerodynamic vessels humanity had fielded in their initial defense. These were monsters of engineering, angular, brutal constructs that looked more like flying fortresses than spaceships. Each one stretched over 2 kilometers in length, their hulls bristling with weapon emplacements that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. "Impossible," Kethvar whispered. "Our intelligence indicated no reserve fleets, no hidden shipyards." His tactical officer's voice trembled. "Admiral, they're not showing up on our databases. These ship designs, they're completely unknown." The lead dreadnought began transmitting on all frequencies, and David's handheld comm unit picked up the signal down on Earth's surface. A calm, measured voice spoke with the authority of someone who had never known defeat. "This is Admiral Helena Vasquez of the Terran Deep Fleet, commanding the dreadnought Unbroken Will. Zephyrian vessels, you have made a critical error in judgment. You assumed that what you saw was all we had to offer." Emma's voice cut through the static on David's comm. "Sir, are you hearing this?" David looked up at the sky, where new stars were appearing as the human dreadnoughts moved into position. A grin spread across his face for the first time in days. "I hear it, Sergeant. The cavalry's finally here." Admiral Vasquez's voice continued broadcasting. "For 70 years, humanity has prepared for this moment. While you studied our outer colonies, we built these ships in the dark spaces between stars. While you cataloged our known technology, we developed weapons you cannot comprehend. You thought you faced a species on the brink. Instead, you have awakened humanity's true strength." The Zephyrian fleet scrambled to reposition, but the human dreadnoughts had already achieved tactical superiority. Unbroken Will fired first, not with conventional plasma or missile weapons, but with something that made space itself scream. A focused gravitational lance tore through the Void Crusher's shields as if they were tissue paper. Kethvar staggered as his flagship bucked under the assault. "Return fire. All batteries." The Zephyrian weapons struck the human dreadnought's hull and simply stopped. The energy dissipated across adaptive armor plating that seemed to drink in the destructive force and convert it to power. "Admiral," David's voice came through the comm system transmitted from the surface. "This is Commander Chen, Ground Forces. We've got eyes on enemy retreat patterns. They're abandoning surface positions and falling back to their ships. Emma's voice joined in from her position. Confirmed, sir. The bugs are running. First time I've seen that in 3 days. Admiral Vasquez's response carried the weight of humanity's accumulated rage. Copy that, ground forces. Hold positions and prepare for cleanup operations. These invaders will not leave our system alive. The battle was brutally one-sided. Each human dreadnought engaged multiple Zephyrian vessels simultaneously, their weapon systems operating on principles that defied the enemy's understanding of physics. When the Void Crusher finally exploded in a cascade of antimatter fire, Kethvar's final thoughts were of disbelief that a species they had dismissed as primitive could field such devastating technology. Within 6 hours, the Zephyrian fleet was either destroyed or fleeing in full retreat. The Dreadnoughts settled into protective orbits around Earth, their crews already beginning relief operations for the battered planet below. David stood among the ruins of New Geneva as the first relief shuttles descended from orbit. The sky, which had been filled with enemy craft for days, now showed the reassuring silhouettes of human vessels. "Sergeant Rodriguez," he called into his comm. "Mission status?" Emma's voice came back strong and clear. "All objectives secured, Commander. The planet is ours." As Admiral Vasquez's dreadnought passed overhead, David realized that humanity's greatest strength had never been its technology or firepower. It was the ability to endure, to prepare, and to never reveal the full extent of their capabilities until the moment of greatest need. The galaxy would remember this day, and they would never again mistake human restraint for human weakness.